Did she even hesitate? That was the only question that mattered as I lay perfectly still on the cold bathroom floor, the faint, rhythmic drip of the faucet counting down the seconds. My phone, clutched in my cooling hand, was set to dial 911 with a single tap, a call I had no intention of making. The screen's glow painted a ghostly light on my face, a face I'd practiced in the mirror to look ashen, lifeless. I'd researched it all, the precise angle to fall, the way to slow my breathing until it was undetectable, the subtle blue tint of the lips. From the living room I could hear her frantic, hushed whispers, but they weren't to a paramedic. They were to him. My final act wasn't one of despair. It was a meticulously crafted overture to an opera of ruin, and I had to know who she would call first on the morning she thought I was dead. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. Our story, Jessica's and mine, wasn't supposed to end in a staged death on the linoleum of our downtown Chicago condo. It was supposed to be forever. We had 10 years of memories stacked like bricks, building a life overlooking Millennium Park. But a single crack can bring the whole thing down. It started subtly. A new password on her laptop. Late nights at the office that didn't quite add up. The scent of a cologne that wasn't mine clinging to her coat. She'd started talking about a new colleague, Mark, a real shark in the finance department. The way she said his name, with a little too much admiration, was the first splinter under my skin. Then came the coldness. It crept in like the brutal Chicago winter, chilling our apartment until my own home felt foreign. Her laughter, once the soundtrack of my life, became a rare, hollow echo. "You're being paranoid, Alex," she'd say. Her eyes flat and dismissive when I'd ask why she was guarding her phone like it was a state secret. She was a master manipulator, turning my genuine concern into a weapon against me, making me feel like the crazy one. I'd find receipts for dinners I wasn't at, places on the north side, fancy steakhouses on Rush Street. They felt untouchable, her and this ghost named Mark, living a separate, glittering life while I was left in the quiet darkness of our shared one. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I found a credit card statement tucked away in her gym bag. A charge for 2 nights at the Thompson Chicago, a hotel just a few miles from our home. My heart didn't just break, atomized. I sat on the edge of our bed, the very bed we'd picked out together, and the silence in the room was deafening. That night, I wasn't just a husband. I became a strategist. My grief hardened into something cold and sharp. I spent the next 3 months gathering proof. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who moved through the city like a shadow. Gave me everything. Photos of them kissing in a parking garage in the Loop. Videos of them walking hand in hand along the lakefront. Audio recordings of their lunch dates where they mocked me. "He's just so predictable," I heard Jessica say, her voice dripping with a casual cruelty that gutted me. I took every piece of evidence and filed it away, each photo a nail in a coffin I was building for her. I met with a divorce attorney, one of the most ruthless in the city, and we laid the traps. I moved my assets, secured my finances, and prepared the legal filings, all while playing the part of the slightly distant but still loving husband. The plan for the final act was born from their arrogance. I overheard her on the phone with Mark, complaining about my sudden moodiness and how she wished she could just be free. "It would be so much easier if he just disappeared," she'd whispered. So I decided to grant her wish. Which brings us back to the bathroom floor. As I lay there feigning death, I listened. I heard her end the call with Mark. "I don't know what to do," she'd sobbed to him. "He's on the floor. He's not breathing. Oh God, Mark, what if he's..." Then silence. A long, agonizing silence. I heard her pacing. I heard the clink of a glass. And then I heard her dial. But it wasn't 911. It was her lawyer. "He's gone," I heard her say, her voice stripped of any grief, replaced by a chilling, transactional tone. "My husband, I think he's dead." "What do we do about the prenup?" That's when I stood up. The look on her face as I walked out of the bathroom, a specter of wide-eyed, gasping horror, was more satisfying than a decade of happiness had been. Her phone clattered to the floor. The public exposure was swift and brutal. Evidence from the PI was leaked. The recordings of her conversations with Mark, her call to her lawyer while my body was still warm, it all went to the press. Her company fired her for moral turpitude. Her social circle, the one she valued more than me, evaporated. Mark, the coward, vanished, transferring to a different state. The divorce was a formality. The judge looked at her with utter contempt, awarding me everything the prenup allowed and then some. She was ruined, a pariah in the city that was once her kingdom. I see her sometimes, a ghost haunting the edges of the city. She works a retail job in a suburb I've never heard of. The arrogance is gone, replaced by a permanent haunted look. We never speak. There's nothing left to say. I won, but my victory lives in a quiet, empty condo overlooking the park. A constant reminder that some things, once broken, can never be put back together. The night everything broke was a Tuesday, the end.